Okay, welcome back, everyone, and those who are joining and those who will be watching the playback. This is week 34 of our year-long campaign. I'm your co-host, Mike DiMuccio, and it's Dave Rolfe, your other co-host for Aligning with Success. I hear that word a lot, and it's the right word because it's about bringing to bear our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions so that they're consistent and pointing in a particular direction, leading us closer and closer as we go, progressing towards the realization of our vision or our goal. And it's really easy to tell if you're not in alignment with your vision and your goal. Listen to the thoughts you're thinking, check in with the feelings that you're feeling, and take a look at the actions that you're taking at any given time. Are they in alignment with where you want to end up, where you want to go, or not? It's really pretty simple way of looking at whether that moment in time is productive or counterproductive. And so I like the idea of aligning with success as a ongoing way of establishing whether or not your ship is pointing in the right direction or not, and becoming conscious, becoming aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and actions as to whether or not they are in alignment. And so, if we look at, and I'm going to just throw this out at you, and then Dave, I'll switch over to you. If we look at your thoughts, feelings, and actions over the last 34 weeks concerning the goal that you set for yourself, for the check that you want to see Niken pay you, your company, in on December 15, 2025. Have your thoughts and your feelings and your actions been in alignment with that check? Have you been on a daily basis working toward that progression toward that eventuality, that inevitability? And of course, if you're taking one step forward and two steps back, we know what the answer is. You've got a progression in the wrong direction. So we want to be mostly on point all the time. One of the reasons why we carry a goal card, if you don't know what that is, it's just a simple card that you can carry in plastic or not. That is the goal that you establish for yourself, so that you can be reminded every single day as to whether or not you are on course with that agenda. I just gave away the secret of the movie, The Secret, and the book, The Secret of the book, Think and Grow Rich. The secret in that book is carry around a goal card. At the end of the day, you move in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. And if your most dominant thoughts are being reminded constantly of the objective you set for yourself, then you're going to move in that direction. Your thoughts, your feelings, your actions are going to naturally move in that direction. Anyway, enough about that. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you very much for asking. It's pretty hard not to be awesome these days.
It
So
is.
I do have a topic that I'd like to talk about. As you know, I got to leave early, but I think I can get it across, and I think it's going to be very worthwhile, and it's going to be a great reminder in along what we were doing. And we talked about how does this work? And the biggest question I ever had with anything that I got involved with was how does it work? Well, what do you have to do? What are the component parts? We talked about the recipe a couple of weeks ago, so you want to make a chocolate cake, how's it work? Well, here's the recipe, follow the recipe, and there's your chocolate cake. Okay, so that's easy to follow. So I was on a call with somebody I'm working with, and we were doing an ABC, and we'd instructed this individual to study some videos and start making a list. And then we'd get back a week later and we'd talk about the next step in the strategy. Well, we get back 2 weeks later because something came up and he's not as excited as he was the first time. And we come to realize the reason why he wasn't excited the first time is he went out and he started talking to people when he was told not to. And he was sending the company webpage to these people and they weren't responding back. And so, because of experience and knowing how it works, immediately I started to think about okay, this individual needs to know how it works because he doesn't know what to communicate or how to communicate what it is to the people that he's talking to, create that interest and that excitement and that enthusiasm and all that stuff that goes along with what we do as individuals. So he's an attorney. And here's the question I asked him, and this was really simple. I said, "Well, what kind of law do you practice?" And he says, "Well, I'm contract law. I was worked in corporate." And I said, "Okay, so if I had just bought a commercial, I was in commercial contracts. And I said, if I just bought a commercial building and I needed a contract to provide for tenants, can you come over and see me?" And he said, and I said, "Tell me what you would do." He rattled off exactly what he would do in 30 seconds or less, being bing, 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 bing. This is what I do, bang, bang, bang. This is, just it was like, and I said to him, "Okay, that's what you need to know about Nikan." And he got it. I mean, just he got it 100%, and he just totally got what we were. So then we educated him on what this is working about. Well, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago on this call, the Mike brought up the idea. Well, we need to talk about this idea of getting started. And so I've been working on my stuff. I know Mike's thrown out some videos that he's done in the past of what it started, but one of the keys for me of getting started was having a conceptual understanding of workability. So, in other words, okay, you're the baker. We want to become bakers tonight, and we want to bake this chocolate cake. So, the first thing we have to do is well, we have to put on the baker hat, and we have to put on the apron, and we have to be the baker so that we can go do what a baker does. And we're going to get our hands dirty. We're going to get flour all over ourselves. We're going to have mixing bowls and a mixer, and we're going to have eggs and vanilla and all these kind of things. And we're really going to get into it because we want to create a product that we want to enjoy. And our in-laws are coming over and they're going to have a piece of this cake. So it better be damn good. That's the idea. And so when I first got involved many, many, many years ago, it was kind of like, and anything I've ever got involved with, it was, well, how the heck does this thing work? So I thought I would be a smart ass in this sense, and I got on the internet in the last couple of weeks, and I started to look at all these AI opportunities. And so I started to sign up for them. They cost money. I thought, well, I'll throw a few dollars at this, see what happens. And I buy this and I buy this and I buy this, and then I call them back. Well, how does it work? Nobody can answer me. So I started to, pound the phone. Well, I need to talk to somebody that shows me how it works. I wouldn't get back to me, and they wouldn't get back to me, and they'd send me to this, and they'd send me to that, and so on and so forth. And then so anyway, I called the bank and I said, cancel all the charges. I want my money back, and they did. So here, what's the moral of this story? Well, for me and for what we do, we have a simple yet very necessary situation that we help people feel better. We give them products that they need on a daily basis. You got to have water, you got to have sleep, you got to have energy, you got to have nutrition. It's just plain and simple. But the act of just going out and telling people to sell products is not going to be as successful as getting people to distribute the products. Now, I did many, many surveys in my business career, and I talked to many, many people, and I found out there were three different categories of product buyers. One was the retail consumer, the two was the wholesale buyer, and the third was the distributor buyer. And of all three, guess who bought the most product? The distributor buyer. Because he bought product for himself and his family, his friends, and for the business purposes of loaning it out to other people, which makes total sense. And so from the standpoint of how does it work? We talked about this in phase one and phase two. Well, phase one, you get your hands dirty, you pound the pavement, you figure out what works for you because what works for you could be completely different that works for somebody else. But if you don't know how it works, then you can't coach somebody into what to do to get them to make it work. Now, you could say to somebody, well, put together a list of 100 people. Well, that works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody. But the idea of contacting and talking to people all the time is what works for everybody. Whether you've got 500 people, 1,000 people, 200 people, I probably talked to over 10,000 people in my career, but I didn't have a list of 10,000 people when I started. But I understood how it worked. We're a people business. So therefore, we need people to communicate with. But the key is how do we talk to them? What do we say? How do we load them up? That kind of thing. So anyway, I'm working on this video. The first part's done. I will record it and post it sometime this week, and then we'll go into further things. But what was really interesting and what got me going on this, which was very exciting, was how does it work? Wherever you're at, ask yourself, how does it work? So if you're having a challenge or a problem and it's not going the way you thought, then ask yourself, how does it work? And then that'll take you back to base, which will tell you what you need to do to take it back to where you want to get to. And it's a really simple process. I was taught this many, many years ago. You go to the end, you work it backwards. And so to the individual that we were talking about, we asked him, well, how much money do you need to make on a monthly basis? So he said 5,000 a month. So I said, well, okay. Then to the distributor, I said, well, what you want to show him is what 5,000 a month looks like. Just like if you went to an architect to buy a house and the architect said, well, what kind of house do you want? And you said, I want a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, open space kitchen, family room, et cetera, et cetera. Then he'd come back with a picture of that house. And if you liked the picture, then you understood the picture. And as Michael said, and I'm a 100% believer, we think in pictures. That's all there is out there is pictures. So we operate on that basis. But if we can't see or imagine or visualize what we're going after, then we're in the dark. And then here's what you do when you're in the dark. You put in things that you think are there or you think should be there that are not necessarily part of it because it's your imagination, it's your thought process, it's what you've heard, it's verbal information. It could be completely false or completely wrong. Why do you want to know how it works? So that you can always be on the forefront of being able to evaluate what's going on or what's not going on. You're told to do something. And this is I watch this on WhatsApp all the time where somebody tells you to do something and then okay, so if you do that, what are you relating that doing this to? Does it do anything? Does it create a result? Is it workable for you? Is it workable for your situation? How does the business work? And then you always go back to baseline and you can always figure out how to get out of your problem situations and challenges. Anyway, that was my thought for today. And along with the themes that we're doing, we did the recipe. So now we're coming up with the next series of getting started and how it works.
Terrific.
There you go.
Speaking of which, thank you, Dave. Has anybody had a look at this? There were some documents that were shared on the chats. I think this may have been one of them. This is the getting started as have you not? Okay. If there's a message that comes on the chat from either myself or Dave, you need to be on that like a fly on you know what. Because we don't mince words. We don't waste people's time with superlatives. There's a lot of chit chat on the chats that are mostly social commentary and not business development. But when we post on the chats, there's a 99% chance that it's 100% business development. So I would suggest you skim through the last week's yada 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 on the core consultant chat and see what either myself or Dave have posted and make that a priority item for you to review. This was one of the pieces that I'm sure was shared. There's another one that I want to draw some attention to. How many of you saw the video by Randy Gage that Paul Gabios shared? It's about duplication. Okay, no hands went up. So I'm gonna suggest that you take a stab at that one too, because it's everything that Dave and I have been talking about duplication, about the idea of a recipe, about establishing a culture that you're going to duplicate. And I'm going to come on, I'm going to back up for a second and say, okay, why do I need to make this distinction? Why do I need to make this distinction from everything else I'm hearing on those chats or anything else I might be learning about in Nikan? Why do I need to draw this distinction? And it's going to come down to your understanding of what it is you're building. What do you, I,
Bingo.
yeah, everybody, everybody says I'm building a Nikan business. And I say, well, what business are you building? Because there's actually three. Which one of the three? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? There's three different businesses in Nikan, just like there's three different businesses in McDonald's. Which one are you building? Because the difference in the long haul is immense. The difference. If you're building a retail business, then you're the reason it works. You will forever be the reason it works, which means you are a dependent of your own business. And you are now building yourself your own job, no different than going and selling clothes at a clothing store. If you're in building strictly a retail business, and if that retail business doesn't involve repeatable or consumables, then you're in the direct sales business. If your sales business, your retail business focuses on consumables, then at least you have a residual income effect that you can continue to build on or grow. And that's smart. So even just that one discussion about retail, what's the business you're building? If it's a retail business, what kind of retail business? Is it one that has repeat business, or is it one that you got to find a customer all the time? How many waterfalls are you going to sell somebody? And if what's your strategy for that customer? Say they have a waterfall. What's next? What's the next thing that you're going to share with them, etc. So do you have a strategy concerning the wellness zone, the idea of having that customer be a total wellness consumer of Nikan? So what kind of business are you building? Which then tells you, am I doing the things that are creating the activity that causes that business to grow? The second kind of business is managing a sales team. You have a few distributors. And what are you trying to get those distributors to do? To be productive. What does that mean? What kind of business are they building? And what kind of business are you teaching them to build? Since there's three types of businesses in Nikan, which one are you schooling them on? And so this may sound complicated, but I'm going to make it real simple for you. I'm going to simplify this whole thing for you because I only ever built one business. And it's the business that has made the most money in most of all of Nikan. So why wouldn't you just follow suit? Like, I'm only going to teach you how to make the kind of business that I made. Dave's only going to teach you the kind of business that he made. Why? Not because it's old fashioned, not because it's because it's the one that maximizes our earning potential now and in the future. So if you are building a business, presumably it's for the sake of having profit. And if you want to maximize your profit, well, what business in the scope of Nikan maximizes your potential and your profitability now and in the future? What's that business look like? So that it really helps to know the business you're building. So the second business we're talking about is sponsoring people, a small business like you've got a restaurant with a bunch of employees and you're having to crack the whip. Come on, the sale is 20% this month. You guys, what's your goal for this month's sales? Is that the business you're building? Because that's also a business in Nikan. I hear that chat all the time. I watch the chats all the time. And I see what they talk about all the time. And 99% of the time, it's nothing I would spend any time on. So think about that. If you're consuming the chat, most of the stuff on that chat is gobbledygook. Doesn't get you anywhere. Doesn't actually build profits. It doesn't build you a business that's sustainable and long term. So how do you distinguish what's noise and what's valuable content that you want to absorb and you want to integrate into your business? Who's it coming from and what's their check? That's my first line of thinking is who's it coming from and what kind of income are we talking about? Because if I'm going to follow that pattern, that pattern leads me to where they're at. If they're successful at what they're doing, what does that success story look like? So I don't know what business you're looking for. The business that I have been modeling and business and teaching, the the reason why we don't have 100 people on this call or 200 people on this call who are active in Niken, but they're active doing what? What business are they building? I wonder. Because if they haven't gravitated to this call with Dave and myself, that means they're not building a network marketing business because we're the only ones teaching network marketing. And so, why do we focus on network marketing as a business model? Why do we keep insisting that the business processes that you want to uncover, the things you want to learn, is because it's going to maximize your potential? We teach we're in the people business. That's what we teach, not the product business, the people business. Just like McDonald's is in the real estate business, if you understand the real McDonald's, but they have products, they have franchises, which makes the whole system run. We are in the people business. We have products, we have distributors, but we're in the people business. And that's a much more interesting business anyway. So it comes back to what is the business you're building? The network marketing business is about a lot of people doing a little. It's not about a few people doing a lot. Which business are you building? The one where you have to do a lot always forever? Or is it where you're building a business where everybody does a little bit, including you now? Now, you might think this is counterproductive. Am I causing you to minimize your activity? No. I'm causing you to focus your activities on the things that maximize your potential. So, what are the things that maximize your potential in this business? If there were two of you, wouldn't that be better? If there were four of you on your team, wouldn't that be better? If there were 10 of you on your team, wouldn't that be better? If there were 10 of you on your team doing the volume that you're doing as a solo person right now, wouldn't that be better? Right? Think about this for a second. As John Paul Getty once said, I'd rather earn 1% of the efforts of 100 than 100% from the efforts of one. So the idea is not for you guys to become incredible salespeople who can sell $5,000, $10,000 at a time. No. The idea is for you to sell something that's interesting enough to attract people to want to buy, not to want to sell. Now that's a think about that for a second. People want to buy. They don't want to sell. So sell them what they want to buy. What do they
You
want
know
to
what's
buy?
interesting? What's
Go ahead, Dave.
interesting, Michael? 38% of our population in the United States has a side hustle, which means that of that just that 38% isn't making enough money. They want to do something else. And again, I've done a couple of podcasts and I posted those podcasts, and one of them was with a real estate group, and they do network marketing through real estate, and they're growing like a weed because they figured out how to share the idea with somebody else, and again, we had a great conversation. And it comes back to this.
We're losing your connection, Dave. I'm glad you brought that analogy up. I'm going to pick up where Dave left off here with respect to the real estate. So are you all hearing me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you're hearing me okay. Okay, okay.
Yes.
So the reason why those businesses are thriving is because they have very regimented approach to the business. You have to actually qualify to be a distributor. So they set a standard, but the company sets a standard because the
Same
industry
thing we're
has a
talking about. How
standard.
does it work?
Yeah, Dave, we lost you for a bit. We lost you for quite a bit because your signal completely froze. But I picked up on something you said, and that
Go
was
ahead.
those real estate companies. in network marketing are thriving. And there's another one as well, insurance and so forth. And that's because there are regulators in behind that, and they have to meet certain standards in order to actually be eligible to be a distributor. So they operate their business at a certain standard. And that's kind of what we've been talking about when we talked about the recipe. What's the standard that you're setting for your business as a recipe for success that you ask others to follow? Hence, this comes into play, and you'll, if you actually look into this thing, and this is a starting point, it's not the ending point, but it talks about committing to your health and your family's health and starting your wellness home. Also, some kickstart your business with some demos, loaners, and quick sale products. So this is a person looking at Nikken as a business who would even ask those questions and who would even answer those questions versus somebody who's just looking to, you know, who was sold a bill of goods. And it's not really a business. But you look at those realty companies or the insurance companies who are network marketing, and trust me, you have to jump through a lot of hoops before you're eligible to be in them. So you take it more seriously. The people you approach take it more seriously. And so what does that tell you? And they're growing. It tells you the more serious you take your business, the more you present it as a serious business opportunity, the more inclined people are to trust and believe that it is one, and the
Yes.
more they're likely to follow the instructions that you give them as to how they can operate one. And some of those instructions are going to be included here with respect to what products should you start your Nikken business with, as opposed to what products should I buy for me, myself, and I, because I'm still thinking like a consumer, even though I pretend I'm in the business. Are you in the business or are you a consumer? Which hat are you wearing? And again, it comes down to what's the vision of your business? If you don't have a picture of it, if you don't know what you're building, if you don't understand the idea of a lot of people doing a little, then you're not really grasping this yet. What does it mean, a lot of people doing a little? Dave just gave you the secret sauce. He said there's three types of people who join Nikken: retailers, wholesalers, and distributors. Retail, pay retail. Wholesalers, they sign up to buy wholesale, not to build a downline. They may organically find their way to building a downline. We have an example right here, Bela. But is that the majority or is that the minority? What kind of a business are you building if you're betting it on the minority instead of the majority? So the distributor is the one that buys the most, buys the most. He didn't say sells the most, he says buys the most. Isn't it a lot easier to find people who want to buy what you're selling than it is to try and sell them something you're selling? They want to buy what you're selling, not
Michael, I can't tell you how many times I spent 5, 10, 15, $20,000 on some idea of buying it to get something with the expectation that it was going to happen. I mean, that's just the way entrepreneurs work. So that's what you want as entrepreneurs. But here would be the exercise. I've got to take off and go. But the exercise would be is we should have everybody make a presentation on why they should join their business on this program, so we can get everybody's, let's really get into interplaying and interacting
I
and
love it.
so you guys get what to do.
I love it.
That makes-
You
Yeah.
guys start presenting on this call and getting some tips from people on this
Yes.
call as to what are
I
you
gotta fly,
selling.
man. Good talk to
Okay,
you later. I'll look forward to the recap.
okay, perfect. So again, the idea is what are you selling? Engage in a conversation with somebody, what are they hearing? What is it that you're offering? What are you selling? And if you don't have a picture in your mind of what it is that you're building, then I'm not sure what it is that you're selling, except maybe the most obvious thing, which is the product. And you're looking for their pain point, being maybe something physical. So the conversation goes to that. You present an opportunity for them to buy. Now you come across as a salesperson. Now you are coming across your identity where that human being is concerned is, oh, here's a person who sells Nikken products, what magnets and nutrition and whatever. Do they see you as a potential business partner in that light? No. Do they see themselves doing what you're doing? No. So if I'm going to meet with somebody or engage with somebody, I want them to want what I'm selling. So I need to be selling something that is attractive. What's attractive? What's the thing that would attract somebody to becoming involved with me? I would say living like I live or aspiring to live like I aspire to live. Values that are we have common values, things that we're pursuing and interested in pursuing. It wouldn't be,
Freedom.
yeah, it wouldn't be limited to such a finite thing like a product, because then that's a transaction and not a transformation. Mary Ellen, you have your hand up. You're on mute.
There. Okay. I was talking with someone this weekend, and I've been giving a lot of thought to how to change my previous paradigm and thinking about it. And you had said once that practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. And I found that to be true, despite the fact that I was wanting to be looking for people who wanted to build a business. I found myself going right back into we've got these great products. And I, I'll either continue the conversation with the person or I won't. But the conversation I'm having with myself now is okay, if I want to, what I need to do will require me to practice new ways of thinking and talking about what it is we do, because I need to think of myself almost as a new recruit. I have to unlearn a lot of what I've done, and it's surprisingly difficult to do.
Yeah, well, let's start with one thing. People don't want to build a business. It's like a ball and chain around their neck. That's not what they want. What do they want? They want an additional income stream. People want to build an income stream. See the difference that makes? Just that simple change in vocabulary.
Yes, I do.
So it's again, what is it that people want that's attractive? That's what we got to hook into. What are they, why are they going out and doing all these jobs and what do you call it? Gig economy type work. It's not because they see themselves as doing that, driving a truck or driving an Uber. They don't see themselves as doing that. That's how they don't identify with that. They want an income stream. That's what's driving them to do these things. So, what do they want? An income stream. What are they willing to do for that income stream? A number of different things. And if you present Nikken in a light that is appealing, then they will consider Nikken as a possible way for them to generate an income stream. And so that's a different conversation than a waterfall or anything like that. You will eventually get to that conversation because they will explore the income option. And the income option will then reveal what are the moving parts. What's the moving parts of Nikken? In fact, let me just share something with you because I've been working on this. I promised you guys that you would be getting this. So I'm working on the PDF that you're going to have, and I've integrated the new image that Nikken came out with because I think it's appropriate. So you know these three images. Why anybody would do this is still the same. That hasn't changed. Nikken's marketing hasn't changed that because this is the person, their motivation, not what we're offering, what they're
What they're
looking for, right? Their motivation, their why. They want a healthier body, a healthier mind, families, finances, whatever it is, and finance is always number one. Then there's how does Nikken fall in line with that? How can Nikken offer them a solution? Well, we've got products, we've got a business system, we've got a way for them to strengthen relationships, make a contribution, diversify their income, enhance their mind, boost their vitality. That's the how. That's how Nikken plays a role in solving their problem. Then comes, okay, so what do I have to do? That's the activities, the actions, and that's build, A pie, build a simple strategy that you duplicate. That's that core nucleus, right? That we talk about. The core center of this operation is build that and teach others to build that. And that's duplication. That will lead you to the outcome. So this is the and I'm going to show you real quick here because I haven't done the new calculations yet, but they're coming. So here they are. So so somebody says, okay, I want to get started. I want to get started on building this income stream, this income option. How do I get started? Well, we have to first of all decide what we're duplicating. What's the business we're building so we know what we're duplicating? And then there's degrees to which you can duplicate. There's good, there's better, there's best. What do you want to hear first? And most people say best, but I'm just giving you an example. Here's an example of what we are building. We're building a core nucleus of people who are both consumers and some who are partners with us. And so we're going to influence these people to take action. Will everybody do what we suggest? No. The ones who do are the ones we have influenced. They, by definition, are our core. If they follow our recommendation, they get a check mark, a green. They're part of the core. So the core is not, I sponsored a person, now I have one of three. No, you don't. You sponsored a person. Did you duplicate yet? Is that person invested in the products? Is that person invested with their time? Has that person got their contact list together? Have they set the time to launch their business? No? Well, then you have a consultant, not a partner. We're looking for 3 partners as a distinction, and we're looking for 5 core consumers who will consume Nikken for the rest of their lives because they bought the concept. They understood the implications of being in wellness and adapting Nikken technology into their life. So this is what we are setting about to create. Whether we do it in our first week, our first month, our first year, we have to do it at least once. So then we can teach others how to do it. So let's say we started with a water pack. Well, if we start with a water pack and we refer people to that water pack as a way for them to get started, either as a consumer or as a business partner, when we do that, complete that core circle of influence, we will have generated a certain amount of money. In this case, it shows 1240. I have to redo the calculation because the water pack changed, but that's the new water pack. And then what do? We enter phase 2. Phase 2 is where we work with our core partners to duplicate. And that's what we do. We help them duplicate and create a check for themselves. Now, there's another phase to this, and that is now we have all these people in Nikken who are core to our business because they're core consultants, core partners, and they are core consumers. What are they consuming on a regular basis that establishes our business, establishes their connection to well-being? And the answer is, hey, Paul, we got you repeating stuff here.
Oh,
if you don't mind muting
I'm gonna try to mute. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
thanks. So what you see here is the auto ship. Okay, we've got an auto ship of what we consider our core here. What's our core? Well, we got the nutrition, the KVB, we've got the Jade Greenzymes, and the Siaga, or whatever combination you want to use, pink collagen, whatever. There's a core. And let's say that core is about 100 CV per month. Now, all those people are consuming 100 CV per month, and you're generating a $500 US check as passive residual income. That's a good business. I just showed you how to build a $500 a month income stream, and you can grow it from there. Now, if we did the same exercise, only we were influencing people to buy 2 packs instead of 1, starting with ourselves, then clearly the return on investment is much greater. We create much more income for ourselves and for others, duplicating that. But we choose what we're going to duplicate. But the one thing we're going to continue to follow up on is that core consumption, that core nucleus of products, because what happens when we put that through that organization? We have a monthly residual income. So you get paid to build that organization really well, to get them set up in their business or in their wellness home. And we get paid ongoing income because they continue to consume what it is that we've recommended as part of the culture of our business. Now, if you showed everybody this presentation, you showed everybody this income option and how it works, and then you carried it on to show them the rest of it. Let's see, where is the rest of it? I think it's back further in the beginning.
Speed them for flashing images or visual patterns.
Paul, you're still there.
Okay, I think I just turned the speech off.
Okay, so remember, why are we doing this in the first place? What are we duplicating and why are we duplicating it? Because look at what it does as we extend it out, as we generate it multi-generational. It's a business worth building. So I'm showing you how to get it started. I'm showing you why we're doing it in the first place. Where does this lead? So if you don't have this image in your mind, if you don't have this that you're presenting people to, what exactly are you showing them is the Nikken business? Because how are they going to translate that into activity that's productive? How are they going to translate that into the story that they share? So for me, this story is very clear. This is what I'm building. What you're seeing on the screen, that's what I'm building. That's what I have built. And that's what I'm sharing with you because it's a hell of a lot more fun. It's definitely more profitable. And it stands the test of time. And so learning how to share this information, how to show this story, I think is critical to the long-term success. And what would people rather do? Have a few people working really, really hard or a lot of people working a little bit? A few people doing a lot or a lot of people doing a little? Which are you building? Because you set the foundation from the beginning for either one. And if you want to set a foundation to have a network of people who will join you, then they will only do so if it's interesting enough, if it demonstrates viability, profitability, if they think they can do it and manage it with all the other things that they're doing. So you have to show them why having a lot of people doing a little makes a lot more sense than a few people doing a lot, like they're already doing. And then you got to show them, well, what's the little that we got to do? Well, we got to get started in our wellness journey and we got to keep that journey alive. Well, how do we get started? And then you show them. And then it's like, okay, this actually makes sense because I actually do want these products. I would actually like to have these products in my home. And now it's not about you convincing or selling. It's about you showing them a better way. And then they opt in. And that's the whole secret to building something that's going to expand in size and duplicate. And then when you get them on calls like this and they meet other people who've also lost their minds and think, crazy like us, we're into wellness, they realize, okay, there's a community here. There's people who back the products, definitely. They say nothing but amazing things about the products and also the business. So they see validation and they recognize it's not just smoke and mirrors. And it's been around for how long? 50 years? Yeah, it's not smoke and mirrors. This is as good as brick and mortar. So that's how you sell this story if you're selling the network marketing methodology, if you're selling the idea of somebody getting what they want, which is an income option that creates immediate and sustainable income. Questions, thoughts, considerations? Leo.
Mike.
Leo.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce to you my new consultant, Karen Desrosiers, my new superstar. She's on the line. She's a real estate before. I met her 8 years ago, and I talked about Nikken, but she signed up just for a consultant to be 20% off. But it's a good timing on this time with the husband and everything. But the life is changed. Eh? I called her last week for another thing, just hey, hello. And what you do in the weekend, I share to my sister all the videos and see, look my video and see it. And can you speak, Karen? She speaks English a little bit, but she's very excited about Nikan. And she's one tonight. Karen, it's your turn.
My English is not buzzy.
Sounds good to me.
Je suis capable d'entendre, mais de le parler, c'est difficile.
She can hear, but she's difficult to speak it.
So, Karen, what you just heard, does it make sense to you, what we've been talking about?
Où je me situe?
Non, il a demandé qu'est-ce que tu as entendu à soir? Est-ce que ça allait sonner bien tes oreilles?
Oui,
Oui?
oui. Puis en fait, le visuel, c'est bon si je parle en français?
Oui, oui, je vais répéter.
OK. Le visuel, c'est
Yeah.
beaucoup plus facile pour moi de le comprendre que quand tu me l'expliques. Ben, tu sais, tu me l'expliques bien, Léo, mais là, de voir le visuel, c'est wow. Ouais.
Yeah.
You understand
Okay,
what you say?
I can explain that. She said it's
Yeah.
one thing to hear Leo explain, and he's very good at explaining, but the visuals, that's what really helps to see.
Right.
And that's why I'm going to have this PDF available for you because you need to be able to show this.
Merci. Thank you.
You're welcome, Karin. I look forward to working with you.
Mike, can you add her to the WhatsApp group?
She has to add herself. Remember that because of the size of the group, they
Yeah.
have to add themselves. So the link to join the group,
Okay.
send her the link to join the group. It's also in the newsletter. Every week we publish a newsletter. The link to join the Core Consulting group is always there.
Okay.
And have her send me a text message as well on WhatsApp so we can connect.
Okay. Thank you. Merci, Karen.
Where are you? Where do you live, Karin?
Joliette. Canada.
Juliette.
Joliette.
Where's that?
À 1 heure de Montréal.
North of Montreal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
we're not in Montreal.
Good. Karin, you're in real estate?
Yes. Real estate broker.
Yeah. Tough, right? We have another one here, Marissa. Marissa is in that business there.
Yeah, I'm a mortgage broker, so it's very tough.
Yes.
So, and I'm sure there are many other realtors and mortgage brokers who would appreciate another income option. Yeah. And something that doesn't cost people, $5 million. Just it's a lot easier to get people involved in Nikan than it is to get them to buy a house, I'm sure. Anyways, thanks for joining. Any other questions or comments? It's really important that this conversation begins. Like, don't just sit there and be passive about this, guys. I want to hear the feedback because it's critical that we get on this page. We've got to grow the base of entrepreneurs in Nikan. And that's only going to happen when we speak the language of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I got a question.
Norma, go ahead.
Okay. When you mentioned chat, are you talking about the WhatsApp?
Yes,
Are
I
you
am.
talking about, okay, because I know y'all have 3 or 4 different things, and I
Yeah,
was,
it's primarily
okay.
the WhatsApp chat. The Core
Okay.
Consultant
Okay.
chat is the primary chat. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Mike, I have a question.
So yeah, and Paul, just again, Paul, would you mind refreshing that video from Randy Gage? I think it's super important. At least the first 15 or 20 minutes of that video, because here's a guy who's built an empire in network marketing. He's been around as long as I have, longer even. And he's a coach in the industry, and he's speaking the things that we've been talking about. When you hear it, you'll understand this is what it takes to build a network marketing business, is these simple duplication. And he talks about duplication as a principle, 3 basic things that you need to know about duplication. And he says it It's really, really simple. It's like you got to do something and you got to show other people how to do that something. And so it's really simple language. Go ahead, Paul.
I will send it again, but I thought of him because you mentioned his name on the last call, so I followed up. And yeah, duplication, it it actually starts with us. So, but talking about what we were talking about just now in this call, when you were introduced to Nikan, uh, somebody called you because he said, I've got something that might help your back. And you were going to chiropractors, and massage therapists, nothing was helping. And then he puts the product on you. Now, of course, you put two and two together quickly.
No, no, no. Let me be clear about this.
Okay,
It's
let's hear it.
important that you hear he knew I was in network marketing.
Okay.
Okay, he was my upline in network marketing. So when he called me over, he knew my mind, he knew how I thought, he understood me, and when I sat down, he presented an opportunity, not a product. The product demo happened simultaneous. We had the product on my back while we watched the video, but the video was not about the product. It was about the opportunity.
And he
So
presented the opportunity first to you because he knew how you thought and he knew you had a back issue that
yeah, so he
could help.
used the idea of, hey, I think I might have found something that can help your back to get me to his house. But why he picked me and what he then showed me when I got to his house was all about the opportunity.
Okay.
And
That's
I was
really
embarrassed. By
helpful.
the way, I was extremely embarrassed for both of us because here he is, my upline, and he's pitching me another network marketing deal. And I'm like, what? And, but I guess he had done his homework because it didn't take long for me to become extremely fascinated by everything I was hearing. And then, of course, when the product in those minutes that I was using it made a difference, at that point, I wasn't even sure if it was the product or if it was just me being excited about this possibility. And that's why when I took the product home, I put it on my dad and let him try it without knowing anything about Nikan or the product or the opportunity. And when it worked on him, that's when I was really sold on the idea that this thing had legs. This vehicle had real potential because if this product could deliver that kind of a result, then the business was legit. And what I was shown as a business was a company from Japan that had done billions of dollars. They were moving into the North American marketplace, the sickest place on earth. And the upside of this was immeasurable. So the story came together within 48 hours for me, but I had all the pieces to put that together. If all they had done was show me a product and relieved my backache, and that was that, I wouldn't be here today.
Right. There had to be a conjoining of both kind of at the same time
Yeah.
for the match to you know.
Yeah, and this is why, by the way, Paul, we led with the product demo. So let's say I called you up and I said, "Hey, Paul, I've got something I want to talk to you about. I think it's a real interesting opportunity." And you're like, "Oh, I'm busy." And then I said, "Look, Paul, let's say you give me a hard time. I just want to come and see you. And you're giving me a hard time to make time for me." Say, "Look, Paul, tell you what, I'm going to be there for 60 seconds. And if I don't actually impress you in the first 60 seconds I'm there, I'll leave and we don't have to talk about it again."
Yeah.
Now you're wondering, okay, 60 seconds. He's going to impress me in 60 seconds or he'll leave. Whatever it is he's got, he thinks he can impress me in 60 seconds or he'll leave. Yeah, okay. I'll take you up on that. So Paul would take me up on that. So what do I do when I go into Paul's office? What's the first thing I'm going to do when I go into Paul's office?
Mag step test.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a pair of mag steps on the ground, say, "Here, stand on these." They're like, "What are these?" Never mind, just stand on them. We do the demo. He gets blown away. He says, "How much are these?" I said, "I don't know. I didn't come here to sell you a pair of insoles." Are you, you get it? You understand? This is the tip of the iceberg. Wait till you see what else there is. Now I have him in the palm of my hand and I can talk to him about Nikken because he's now listening with both ears. For me, the product was the hook. It was the worm on the end of the hook.
So we should be more like Michael Galley, who was like doing demos. Yeah, because
That's
he
it.
he was
You walk
demoing
around with a couple of
all the
minis, you'd
time.
say, "You ever seen these things before?" "No, here, let me show you something. Hold this in your hand." Boom, does a demo. Like, what the heck? Yeah. The demos are something that knock people out because they're not expecting it. It's not something that they can easily find anywhere. Doesn't happen. Like, when's the last time anybody did that to you? It doesn't happen. So people are so busy with their life, you almost got to punch them in the head to get their attention. Well, we can't punch them in the head, but we can do a demo. We can take 60 seconds of their life and do a demo. I did that video with my kids. I think it's 51 seconds long. Why? Because it's not even a minute. Can I have at least 50 seconds of your time? Watch this and don't believe it. Let me come over and show you myself. I just want their attention. Because if I get their attention, I can then have a conversation. But if I can't get their attention, I may be speaking with them, but talking to myself because they're not hearing me. They're multitasking on their computer or on their phone. How do I get somebody's attention so we can have a real conversation? The demo. Wes, you got your hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sitting in the dark. I I agree. Everything that you're saying is right on, and I hope people here understand that. Um, and I'm faced the problem that I have. Yeah, I run into people that need. I do the strength test with people. I get their attention, but then they quick go on the website and they think I want them to sell stuff. And I'm trying to find a way to keep them from going to the website right away. I try to caution them not to. I try to. Oh, it's just a struggle, but it's
You're
good.
saying they go to the website and they think you're trying to sell them, or you're trying to turn them into a salesperson?
Yeah, yeah.
What website are they going to?
Well, when I send them to, if I can send them to the store to get a specific product and use it, it's not a problem. But if I send them to the landing page with
the quiz,
they think I'm trying to sell them product, and that's been a problem I've had with the personal web page from the beginning. Because
okay, so stop right there.
Yeah.
Because you didn't frame it.
You're right.
Okay, let me talk about this in the few minutes that we have. If you don't frame the conversation, if you don't frame the information you're going to share with them, they're going to interpret it for what it is. Okay, I'll give an example. I bring Marty Jeffrey into a wellness preview, a live Nikken meeting. But before I bring him into that meeting, which is going to be a packed house of people raving about magnets, I say to him, "You're coming to see the franchise in operation. You're going to see the franchise in operation." So I framed it so that when he walked through those doors, he's seeing the franchise in operation. He's not seeing, "I want you to be like one of these people. I'm trying to get you to be like one of these people." That's not what he's seeing, because if I didn't frame it, he would have walked into that meeting room and walked right out and said, "I don't relate to any of these people." But he walked into that meeting as a potential business owner, and that was his customer. I framed it. Same thing with the information. If Nikken is framed as an opportunity for people to open up an income option and maybe more, then when they go to look at the information you send, you can frame it as, here's part of our operating system. Let me send you to my PWP. This is part of the back door. This is part of the Niken operating system that everyone will get access to. Now they're looking at it as an operating system, not as a, oh, you're trying to sell me something. If they see something they like, they're going to buy it. But you're not trying to sell it to them. You're trying to frame the information so they look at the information with a certain set of lenses on, as an entrepreneur looking at a potential business. Oh, nice website. Oh, interesting stuff. Oh, okay. Rather than, oh, he's trying to sell me something. You get it? Framing is really very, very important. Frame the information.
That's the best part of tonight's call. Thank you for it.
You're welcome, Wes. Bailey, last comment, and then we'll hang up.
So this framing part has become really key because in a way I kind of stumbled my way forward to where I am. And when that happened, because that happened so quickly, when that happened, I started re-examining how I approach people. And, as I had said, most people responded to me because of the difference they saw in me. And then I realized not everybody that I'm going to approach has seen me in the last, 6 months, 8 months. So I started reframing it. So, for example, I got a new customer today. And what I said to her was, I presented the opportunity first. I said, I want to know what you're interested in. Would you be interested in an income opportunity? She said, no, not right now. I said, okay, well, I'm not trying to sell you product for the sake of selling you product. I would like to be your partner in your wellness journey. And so I framed it that way. And then I followed up with an email and I reiterated all that. And then I sent her my personal webpage and she bought a Mag Duo.
Okay,
And
so
that was
what
it.
you were selling her was a relationship. I want to be
Exactly.
your partner in your wellness journey. So we partner up for your benefit. And that's what you sold her. Now, what follows from that is, okay, what's the product? What's the blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
But what she bought into to even explore that possibility was being a partner in her wellness journey.
Yeah. So I
That's what you
also,
sold her.
and the reason I put my hand up was because it's so nice to hear that confirmation from you that what I did was the right thing. So, but I did get into the call, the part about the water system, because I generally just asked her, is there anything you're really concerned about that I could help you out with? And she mentioned about some skin issues. So I jumped on that and I said, well, you might be interested in the Niken waterfall and Pipe Mag waterfall. And I said, I'm going to send you some information, but briefly, this is what it is. So she said, okay. So I sent her the information on that very short little thing that Niken had posted on Facebook, and I just copied and pasted. And I sent that to her. So I've got her interest up. And I said to her in that email, I'm not selling you the product. I am just trying to be your partner in this journey. And if this agrees with you, we can pursue it further. So I had said the same thing in the phone call. So in the phone call, she said, let me try some of the products first. Then we'll talk about the income opportunity. So the door is now open.
Yeah.
And I
Nice.
was really pleased with myself because I
No,
was,
it's beautiful because this is what we're talking. This is what my contact and invite audio explains. You're
yeah,
contacting somebody to be a partner with,
yeah,
and that's what you're selling is the partnership. The idea of building something together in partnership that is meaningful and rewarding. The
yeah,
fact that it's Niken and all its moving parts is secondary. It could have been anything. It
yeah,
just so happens to be Niken for all the right reasons.
yeah. So anyway, so that's what happened. So now I'm hoping that she will read my email and then she will respond to me by saying, oh, I am interested in the water system. And there the journey begins.
Okay,
Because what I
good.
said in the email
One
was,
comment.
yeah,
Don't tell them that you're not trying to sell them something because the first thing they're going to hear is you're trying to sell me something.
well, I said it later in the conversation. I just kind of said to her, what are you looking for? Because I didn't know. I didn't know. She found my name and she reached out. So it kind of just happened.
That's
So
cool.
then I took that
And by the
opportunity.
way, your job is to help them get what they need out of it, what they
Correct.
want out of
And
it.
that's the way I
And
look at it.
yeah, and that's what you should tell them. Just that I'm here to help you, to facilitate, to assist you in any way to help you get what you want. Partner with
Okay,
you
so
on
I
your
did
wellness
good.
journey. You did really well, and that's a good lesson
Okay.
for everybody. So thanks everybody for joining.
Okay.
We'll
Thanks,
post this
Mike.
call later on. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Right.